Hello, I'm RetroJules. Well, update 4.5 Mercenaries has been with us for a few days now. We had a few weeks to mull it all over, talk about it, dislike it, generally comment on what we thought of these Frankentanks coming into play. And it was quite interesting because a lot of people were saying, well, do you know what? It's not a World War II game. It is World of Tanks. It's not World of War II tanks. So kind of, I guess that means anything goes. I love this new title screen. It's really sharp. It's smart. I like the new font. It feels immediately, with the new music and the new graphics, like a new game.
Can change everything.
And then I was hit by the same old, really boring trailer. And I thought, oh, I'm not sure if this should be the Mercenary trailer now, really, or even better, no trailer at all. And I apologise now if this gets a little bit glitchy because I'm streaming up to the PC to record these screens. So I would have liked to have seen a nice new shiny Mercenary trailer instead. Or maybe no trailer at all and straight into the game. And then we have the garage. Well, it's not a garage anymore. It's a base. And my first reaction was, oh, it looks really, really lovely. And then I thought, actually, I kind of miss the coziness of my garage. And when I would make videos and speak to you guys and talk through a tank or do a little intro, I always felt like you were sort of kind of sat in my garage with me. We were all cozied up and we were talking through the mechanics and everything. But actually it took me a few days and I thought, actually, I really like this. This is really pretty. I love the puddles, I love the tracks, I love the surroundings, I love the waterfall in the background. And I thought, actually, this is probably better for you guys when I talk to you, because we can have a bit of a barbecue. I can get Mrs. Retro to make teas and coffee and serve up biscuits. And I thought, actually, for me and my community, this is actually a better garage and we can have a much better time. So it took me a few days and I thought, actually, I really, really like this. And of course, we then go into the tech tree. And I was kind of glad that when we were discussing the update before it came out, I kind of said, I'm kind of hoping that the update is... Sorry, pressing the wrong buttons here. Kind of hope that the update is more than the sum of its parts. It's more than just these mercenary tanks. And fortunately, it is. And the mercenary tanks are there, and I had a little look, and I looked at them, and I thought, actually, do you know what? I know there's going to be more of them. They're going to bring them in. It's actually quite good for people that have got all the tanks they want. It gives something for people to earn, something to grind for, something to buy for a bit of a wallet warrior. And that's probably a good thing for the game. I'm in a really fortunate position where I don't own all the tanks. I'm not actually currently grinding anything. I'm really happy with the tanks I've got. There's plenty more tanks in the tech tree that I could play for. But the one that did catch my eye was the Tusk. I thought this actually looks pretty cool with the AMX chassis and the T49 turret, and suddenly I found myself thinking, well, actually, maybe these Frankentanks, these mercenary tanks, aren't that bad, and maybe it's a logical progression from going from a World War II based game, perhaps heading to the future, and maybe this is somewhat of an in-between stage where eventually up-to-date tanks may be brought into the game. Who knows? Something to think about. I think the music as you go into the games is absolutely brilliant. It's really dramatic. I love that. There's a couple of dodgy themes, but generally it sounds really, really good. And of course, it's also about the maps. Tundra has returned, Windstorm has returned, Northwest, Redshire 1944, and then of course we've got the new, well, they're kind of map variants, but they're not, they're new maps. In the update, it was described as fan favourite maps ravaged by war and time. We've got the Amazon, which is a revamp of the Arctic region, Baja, which is the south coast, Kitimat, which is the Serene coast, Panama, which is Westfield, Rogues Harbour, which is Port, Salvage Yard, which is Malinovka, and I'm probably not going to say this right, Stad de Dunkenheit, which is Himmelsdorf. Hurrah, another version of Himmelsdorf. But that means 4 maps have returned and 7 new maps, or new map variants, if you like, however you want to call them. I've only seen 3 of them. I've seen Panama, I've seen Baja, and I've seen 2 of them, and I like them. I have no problem with them whatsoever. They're kind of familiar, but they're slightly different. Climate seems to have changed. We seem to sort of have cactuses where there was once deciduous trees and all the rest of it, but it's, yeah, that's just being a little bit picky. But the one thing, so generally I am really pleased with this update. I think it makes the game look really glossy, very up to date. I've been watching YouTube videos lately of War Thunder and Armoured Warfare just to watch something different, and that's kind of where I'm a little bit disappointed now, because when you go into the game it's like, oh, it's the same game. And it was always going to be. Why was it going to be any different? But having watched those other games and the YouTube videos on them, and the way that this has all been scrubbed up and looking really glossy, I thought actually the game now looks just that little bit lackluster. It's kind of, what, 3.5 years old, I think, or about 3 years old on the Xbox One. So I think compared to other tank games, it's not looking quite as immersive. When I look at the tank in the garage, or the base, whatever you want to call it, it is the garage, I feel like it almost, the levels should almost look like that. You almost want to roll off the screen and out you go into battle. And I can't quite put my finger on it. Something about War Thunder and Armoured Warfare, it looks a little bit like you're sort of in the map, in your tank, and the map environments just look a little bit more realistic. With World of Tanks now, everything feels a little bit small, everything feels like it's a little bit open, not as much detail. Just my opinion, but I think this game looks really polished now, and I just think the actual gameplay and the maps perhaps just need to catch up with that now and give us a really truly amazing game. I am happy with this update, and I just thought I'd show you the first game I had as soon as I downloaded the update. So the first game involved rolling out the trusty Batchat on a very sandy airfield. Now, when I mentioned about the gameplay sort of being a bit of a letdown, that sounds a bit negative. Don't get me wrong, I still love this game, I love playing it. I just thought that because Wargaming had polished up all the intros, the menus and the garage and all this wonderful dramatic music, I just feel that the game could just perhaps graphically catch up a little bit. And I can't really put my finger on it. Is it the camera angles? Is it because the tanks look a little bit small because you're kind of always looking down on them? I really don't know, because when you look at the graphics, they are details and they are nice. I just think perhaps the maps are just a bit different to the other games. They're just a little bit more sparse. So this was the first game after the update, so whatever happened, happened. Been rolling out the back chat a lot just lately. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Pushed up quite close to try and get some spots in, and it didn't really happen, although I just bring in the 3rd spot. And of course, because your visibility is reduced by 50%, you've got to push a lot closer to get them lit up, which can often, for me, end in tragedy. So we're very heavy orientated on the enemy side about E6. I wasn't really watching the minimap when I took that first hit and didn't see that tank sneak up on me. Now I've discussed the capping icons. That was never going to change in this update. Shouldn't have auto-aimed that. Which for me is a little bit sad, but you know, they can only do so much in an update, and I'm really hoping that they do something about these capping icons, because I'm not getting on with them at all, and quite often I screw the game up because of them. So I'm thinking, right, most of the heavies are still at E5, sort of D6 area. I'm going to have a push and see if I can find Artie. Didn't really want to run through the cap and set the air raid siren off, but there we go. Too late now, already done. There's Artie. One shot in, and it's killed by somebody else. And hoping to come up on the number 2 line and get some sort of rear flanking shots on the engagement that's going on at D7. But there's a little bit of a surprise, because of course this is where the TDs are going to reside. There's an E4 for the 5th spot. So okay, I've spotted a 1/3 of the team, and that E4 is, yeah, he's coming for me. Missed its shot. Don't know what the reload is. I'm sure it's pretty beefy, so I take my chances and get round there. Little bit of a game glitch there, and just a trusty bit of auto aiming to finish off my drum. Bit of a zigzag, and run away with my tail between my legs, hoping not to take a shot from that. So health wise, doing okay. On the reload, that E4 is on a tiny bit of health, so it was a good tank to spot. 7 seconds left on the reload. It's still there, it's down below. Can I get a kill? Can I take it out? There it is. No, first shot fluffed. Oh. Wasn't overly stylish, but it's taken out. And we are winning this fairly comfortably. So there's the other TD. It's a waffle, and I just sit here in the open, spot another tank destroyer and a medium, unload the drum, and I wasn't too worried because I thought, well, I can probably take a shot or two, and then it's just a case of staying out of trouble while I was on the reload. Now I love the new tank sounds. Quite a few of you do too. And quite a few of you think that they sound like broken down lawnmowers. I think they sound brilliant, to the point that actually I end up rocking my tank backwards and forwards just to keep the engine going, because I really do like the sound. I think it sounds quite realistic. Right, waffle taken out. At D1, it's the Leopard. That's not on a lot of health. Just missed my chance for a shot there. The Leo's taken out. 3 tank kills. 8 enemies spotted, so half the team. 10 assisted. 8 damage ribbons. So again, with the Bat Chat, a pretty much all-round effort for spotting and assisting and taking tanks out. So far, I'm quite pleased. There's an E5. It's back to me. A very easy kill. And then there's the light tank left. And this light tank gives us quite a run around. So I'd be really interested on your thoughts on the update. Whether it's brought you back to World of Tanking, or have you sort of digressed onto War Thunder and stayed there. Really interested in your guys' thoughts on whether you've gone over to War Thunder, like it and going to stay there, or whether you're going to play them both. And also how you think this has improved the game. I mean, it hasn't improved the game, it's improved the way that the game has been presented. And of course, it's given us a hell of a lot of new maps to play, which is brilliant because we are always asking for new maps. Arguably, they are kind of map variants, but they're interesting and they're nicely done. So really interested and like to know your thoughts on what you think of this new shiny update. And the light tank is taken out. So for the first game, for me, because first games are normally terrible, for the new update, a very decent 48,000 silver, 5,500 combined damage, class 2 mastery, 4,800 XP, 4 tanks taken out, and Retro comes top. And as it happened, the next 2 games I played after this, I somehow managed to come top in both of those as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed what my feelings are about the update and how the game looks now. Just bear with me. In the UK at the moment, we're going through a bit of a heat wave in the height of summer, and I've not been tanking that much. I'm going to be using a lot of older footage. You won't know when you watch the gameplay because it will look the same, but obviously when you see where I come at the end and the garage spins, you may notice that it's pre-update. But that's the video footage I'm going to use until I get any really decent new stuff to show you. In the meantime, keep safe, keep tanking, and I'll see you soon.